television champion today on Major League Wrestling. Hello, everyone. I'm Craig Johnson along with Scott Hudson, and interim commissioner Max Andrews has joined us with a Patriot, now both the television titleist and the North American titleist. Had to give up one of the two. He chose to give up the television title. So now we have a tournament to decide the new title.
That's right, and we've had people all over the globe send us their applications. And let me tell you, we've narrowed it down to the top 24, 30 people, and tonight we're going to draw 6 names for the tournament.
You must be real excited. I understand a lot of great response around the Global Wrestling Federation.
You betcha, and I guarantee you, this is going to be a tournament that you won't want to miss.
Well, you won't want to miss it, so stay tuned. Let's find out what Joe Pedicino and Bonnie Blackstone have for us on this edition in Major League Wrestling.
On this edition of Major League Wrestling, I'll be here talking to the fans in the Global Dome, getting their comments, and also conducting a very special interview with the tag team champions, Simpson and Walker.
Fans, on today's program, I'm going to be talking about the situation between Scott Anthony and the Handsome Stranger. Plus, I've also got an opinion on something that's going on in the world of professional wrestling.
A lot of great names have entered the drawing for the tournament. Guys I can think of right off the top of my head, Scott Anthony, the Palm Beach Heartthrob, and Rip Rogers representing the Cartel, both their names in the tournament.
Cartel once again going to try and dominate this tournament, Craig. We've also got names like Terry Gordy involved in this tournament. Brian Lee, primetime Brian Lee, is back in the Global Wrestling Federation just for this very tournament.
The Soul Taker, the Handsome Stranger, although Scott Anthony says that if the Handsome Stranger's name is drawn, that will be one less name we have to worry about. A lot of great competitors in this, the television tournament. We're going to crown a new champion by the end of this hour, but first, we have to find out which 6 names will be drawn and who will be in the first round. That will be done as Max Andrews draws out those names.
To give it one of the belts, and certainly I was very excited and glad to be able to hold both belts. But when it comes down to it, if a choice has got to be made and a decision has to be made, well, this one right here is the one that's going to remain around my waist, because this is the one that I guess is the most prestigious, no doubt. It's a North American heavyweight belt, and it puts me in line, as long as I keep this belt, as being the #1 contender for the global championship, heavyweight championship. So it really wasn't a hard choice. I hate to give up one of the belts, but I'm going to sit back just like you and all the great wrestling fans and enjoy the TV tournament.
And we'll find out exactly who is going to be in that television tournament when we return. But for right now, the Patriot is a spectator. But when it comes to the North American title, not for long. All right, we are back ready for the drawing for the television title tournament. Quickly, a couple of the rules. There will be 3 first-round matches, 10-minute time limit in each of the matches. If the match does reach the time limit, both wrestlers will be eliminated. Now, the 3 winners of the matches will go into the coin flip. That coin flip will determine which 2 men will fight in the playoff match and which man will get the bye into the championship match. All right, the names are in the hopper. Are you ready, Max?
I tell you what, Craig, this is really great. I'm really excited.
All right, let me mix them up here.
No, wait just a minute. Wait.
Get them fair drawing. Okay, here we go. Would you like to select the first name?
No, you go ahead and do it now. I'll go ahead. You just do it.
All right. The first name selected is Eddie Gilbert. Eddie Gilbert, the first name selected. Now, the next man selected will face Eddie Gilbert in the first round. The second man is Hollywood John Tatum. The next first-round matchup, the first competitor will be the Soul Taker. The man who will face the Soul Taker in round number 1 is primetime Brian Lee. Only 2 more names remaining. These will be the final 2 gentlemen who will be in the first round. The first name selected is Mike Davis. Mike Davis, the final man in the tournament. The Handsome Stranger. So Eddie Gilbert faces Hollywood John Tatum, the Soul Taker against Brian Lee, Mike Davis against the Handsome Stranger.
Listen, everybody knows I ran the Handsome Stranger out of wrestling. Listen, Max, how about letting me be in the tournament? I'll be in the tournament instead of the Stranger, all right?
Well, what are you talking about?
Hey, wait. You know, we have to make a lot of tough decisions in this job, and all right, you're in.
Cool.
What?
All right, Max. Cool. He's in.
Fans, I don't know what to say about this. We'll be back with the first.
He's in.
With a first round match, it will be Hot. He's the man known as Hot Stuff, and he actually thanked in a recent interview Al Perez for giving him the opportunity to enter the tournament.
What a deranged mind, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert.
Well, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. And round number 1 will go against Hollywood John Tatum.
Introducing his opponent, entering the ring area from Southern California, accompanied by manager Skandar Akbar. At 236 pounds, Hollywood John Tatum.
Now, we're not going to get into details here in the GWF as Skandar Akbar makes his way to ringside. But Eddie Gilbert and John Tatum don't really like each other.
The situation between Eddie Gilbert and John Tatum, let's just say, and leave it at this, that it goes back several years that involves a common interest that the two men have.
Back in the UWF days. Well, John Tatum and Eddie Gilbert getting ready to go. These two men eyeing each other. Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert extends his hand, and so does John Tatum.
Well, I guess not. Could we have expected anything less than that?
Well, I don't know if these two men have settled their differences over the years, but...
Well, men like Eddie Gilbert and John Tatum just don't shake hands, I don't think, with anyone outside the ring, much less in the ring.
Well, they looked like they were going to say hello to each other once again as Tatum adjusting his boot. They circle around the ring. Now remember, first round, 1 fall, 10-minute time limit matches. If any match does reach the time limit, both competitors are eliminated. Of course, a television tournament, you usually think of these shorter time limits as Eddie Gilbert trying to shorten the temper of John Tatum, and it worked.
Something to remember here, Craig. Single elimination. No second chances in the television title tournament.
And look at them go! Tatum, a barrage of rights. Gilbert reverses, answers with a barrage of rights of his own. Now it's Tatum answering back. Back over. Hot Stuff gets up, tries the right, and backing away. John Tatum.
You can see this goes much, much deeper than just a television title tournament match. These two men just don't like each other.
Maybe Bonnie Blackstone knows something. Bonnie?
We're up here in the high seats taking a look at Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert in this one. What do you think about the guy?
I think that he's got a lot of problems, and I want him to get what's coming to him in this match.
Obviously not a fan of Hot Stuff, says that he's a cheater, but I don't know, you could almost say that about either one of these men as Tatum reels away a right. I think the fans actually cheering for Tatum as Hot Stuff breaks his fall on the top rope. The so-called 52nd degree black belt from Southern California bows to his manager, but you don't leave that kind of an opening for Hot Stuff.
And now you hear the fans cheering for Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. I think what we've got here is a situation where the fans will cheer anybody who's on the offensive because they're beating somebody they don't like.
Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert on many Mondays on the GWF Wrestling Hotline, sharing his views with Scott Hudson. I don't know if he has any views about Hollywood John Tatum that he shared with you, but I'm sure they weren't complimentary. Ooh, this isn't complimentary.
But it is painful.
Very true. Hot Stuff. Eddie Gilbert slides. I don't know if he's safe, but John Tatum's out.
We're seeing a much more vicious Eddie Gilbert. Remember, He just completed a tour of the Wings promotion in Japan, which is notorious for being pretty tough. And Eddie Gilbert comes back with the knowledge that he's putting in the ring here against John Tatum. You can see the man's more vicious than usual.
Some of the men that Eddie Gilbert faced when he was over with the Wings promotion as these two men go toe-to-toe. And James Beard, the senior official, separates them, but only for a moment. I'll get back to that previous thought as James Beard able to separate them, but once again, only for a moment. Oh! Tatum nails James Beard with a right. And now John Tatum seems to have the advantage until the two collide. Gilbert, a little woozy. And Akbar doing something here. Akbar has handed something to John Tatum. It looks like brass knuckles. So Tatum will enter the ring with a foreign object and possibly the advantage over hot stuff Eddie Gilbert. Gilbert waits.
But look at Gilbert's hand.
He's got a pair of knuckle dusters himself. He goes, misses. Tatum misses. Tatum nails Gilbert. Gilbert rolls them up and has them tights. It's hard to see who got that one. Let's get the official word.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the match, hot stuff, Eddie Gilbert.
Let's take another look at that. Eddie Gilbert brings John Tatum up for a belly-to-back suplex. Tatum hits him with the brass knuckles. Down they go. Count of 1, 2. When you see Gilbert rolling him up, holding the tights. 1, 2, 3. The winner, Eddie Gilbert. He advances into the championship round when we return our next match here in the GWF Television Title Tournament.
For everything. Introducing his opponent, entering the ring area for this event. From Duncan, Nevada, weighing 325 pounds, the Soul Taker.
As we enter the second match in the first round of the GWF Television Title Tournament, let's take a look at the tail of the tape. The Soul Taker entering in with about a 1-inch height advantage, 6'6" to 6'5". The Soul Taker definitely with a weight advantage at 325 to 280. So the Soul Taker, by my mathematics, a 45-pound weight advantage going into this first round match, and he's not even allowing Prime Time to get off that ring jacket.
You won't find too many people who will have a height and weight advantage against someone who is 6'5", 280. But we've got that situation here with the Soul Taker in Prime Time, Brian Lee.
Soul Taker, Irish whip into the corner, Prime Time. Getting a boot to the midsection, courtesy of the man from Dungeon, Nevada. Back into the other corner. No reversal by Prime Time. He follows it up. Gets the clothesline. Boot to the midsection. Prime Time with a leather vest. He's gone hunting for a Soul Taker. Soul Taker scurrying out.
Both of these men at one time world champions in the USWA. Brian Lee, world tag team champion with Don Harris. And the Soul Taker at one time the USWA world heavyweight champion. Both these men know what it's like to wear the gold around their waist, and they want the Global Wrestling Federation television title just as bad.
Soul Taker winning that title from Lawler after Lawler had defeated Kerry Von Erich to make it what the USWA calls the Unified Heavyweight Championship. Double chop to the throat of Primetime Brian Lee by the Soul Taker, who is getting ready for another tour of Europe in the Catch Wrestling Association, a place where Mukta Singh is right now competing in the World Cup tournament. We may hear some words from Mr. Singh. I understand that a videotape has been received at the offices of the GWF, the North American offices in Atlanta, Georgia. And we may hear some words from him yet. No members of the cartel in this tournament.
Very strange.
Soul Taker missing with a shoulder block. Brian Lee takes advantage and gets the side headlock on the Soul Taker. And you have to reach up to lock in that side headlock.
You mentioned the fact that no members of the cartel made it into the tournament. One almost did, and that was Scott Anthony.
Well, Scott Anthony may still make it into the tournament if the Handsome Stranger is not able to wrestle, which Scott Anthony claims that is the fact. And Max Andrews
that situation still confuses me. I'm at a loss here. The Handsome Stranger's name was drawn, but supposedly Anthony just comes out and says, I ran him out of wrestling, so I'm in.
And can I take his place? He said that to interim commissioner Max Andrews, and Max Andrews said that he had a lot of hard decisions to make, but sure. So,
wow.
Strange situation. Two big men still going at it in the ring as we digress a little bit. Not a good time to digress when these two guys, oh my, over the top rope goes the Soul Taker, courtesy of the drop kick of Primetime, and now they go onto the Global Dome interview set. Side headlock. Primetime wants to take the Soul Taker into the post and gets set into the post himself. I don't know if that caught him on the head or the shoulder or the forearm.
Or all three.
Soul Taker with the advantage now. Back into the ring. Elbow. The impact bringing Primetime Brian Lee back into the ring. The Soul Taker uses what can only be described as an extended armbar submission type maneuver.
I'm sure that's something he learned in the Catch Wrestling Association in Europe, a submission type maneuver. Could have also picked that up over in the New Japan Pro Wrestling Organization. Very submissive type wrestling organizations, those two, and Soul Taker very successful on his tours of both those wrestling organizations.
Submission-oriented might be a better word. I don't think those organizations would back down to anyone.
Certainly not. Take a look at the chest on the Soul Taker.
Emblazoned with a tattoo.
Huge pecs, we call that. I don't know who we are, but...
The Soul Taker, after using a couple of headbutts with the double Mohawk head, comes off with a clothesline, sending Primetime down. And these fans here in the Global Dome, I was about to say mighty quiet, sitting in awe of these two big men going at each other. But they picked up the noise when the Soul Taker possibly thought he might be getting the fans' adoration. There's the man getting cheered by the fans, however. Primetime Brian Lee. Rake of the eyes stops the momentum of Primetime.
And both men very impressive physical specimens in that ring. But you wonder the intimidation factor that the Soul Taker brings in, despite the fact that he's a vicious wrestler. Inside the ropes, does the haircut, the facial expressions, the tattoos, and the size, does that intimidate someone like Brian Lee?
The roll-up, and Soul Taker on the way down, delivering a right that made the entire thing happen to the Soul Taker's advantage. Out of the ring goes Primetime Brian Lee. Standing tall in the ring is the Soul Taker as Lee trying to get back up to his feet. Soul Taker going out of the ring. They better watch out because a double count out would eliminate both men.
Certainly the case, and as we mentioned in the earlier match, Craig, no second chances. Single elimination.
Soul Taker escorting Primetime back into the ring. And the boot to the top of the head, taking the sole of the boot, working on the forehead of Primetime. Picks up all 280 pounds with ease and puts him down. Soul Taker, momentum off the rope, delivers the elbow. The Soul Taker may have it here. Count of one, count of two, count of almost three.
Brian Lee showing remarkable resiliency there, coming up from that 3 count. I thought, just like you did, Craig, I thought Brian Lee was going to be counted out there. Give Brian Lee credit. Now he comes back.
Brian Lee shakes Shakes it off, delivers a forearm to the back of the head. An elbow had its effect seemingly into the Soul Taker, using his head now. That double mohawk, one of the strangest hairdos in wrestling. Flying clothesline takes Primetime down in the Soul Taker. Goes up to the bottom rope, the middle rope. Pauses there to reflect on the situation. Comes down. Primetime out of the way. Primetime delivers one to the midsection. Comes off with a boot. The right. 3 rights to the jaw. Backs up the Soul Taker into the corner. Irish whip into the corner. Clothesline delivered, but the Soul Taker won't go down. Brian Lee needs to go on the offensive here. There's only 1 minute remaining in the match. A 10-minute time limit in the first round matches. And then the remaining television time in the playoff and finals. Missing with a knee is Primetime Brian Lee. And now the Soul Taker will go on the offensive, but I don't know if he realizes the time situation. Picks him up, takes him over the top rope. Soul Taker better get on his horses, if you will. Only 30 seconds remaining.
Both of these men need to get their minds into one thing. That's the time limit. You can defeat the man, fine, but you got a time limit to worry about. This could be it.
Brian Lee will try to do what no man has done successfully yet. That is take out the Soul Taker. As Brian Lee has his head meet the top turnbuckle, we could be coming down to the end of the time limit, and we have. But don't tell these two men, they're still going to go at it. Soul Taker with a headbutt. As Lee rolls out, the time limit has expired, but the Soul Taker getting a few parting shots. And maybe he's going to depart here. No, he's going over. He's got a chair. He tried this against Al Perez. And men who entered the tournament. And we're getting ready for the entrance of the Handsome Stranger. And what's Scott Anthony doing now?
That's certainly not the Handsome Stranger.
His opponent.
There's the Stranger! The Stranger going after Scott Anthony. The Handsome Stranger is not gone. The Handsome Stranger is ready for action.
Take a look at the intensity on the face of the Handsome Stranger. He wants a piece of Scott Anthony.
At
No question.
257 pounds from Monte Carlo.
So Scott Anthony was wrong, Craig. Handsome Stranger is still in the wrestling business and is here today, and there he is.
I think Scott Anthony thought he was a shoo-in to be in that match, but there is the Handsome Stranger. We didn't see him last week, but apparently recovered and back in action as he gets set to go against Mike Davis to determine, I guess, the second finalist, as the Soul Taker and Brian Lee both eliminated. So the winner of this match will face Eddie Gilbert in the championship match. So this is a very important match.
What a strange tournament, and it started off at the drawing of the names, Craig, when the Handsome Stranger's name was drawn. Scott Anthony came running up to the stage with you and interim commissioner Max Andrews, said, I ran the Handsome Stranger out of wrestling. He's not here. He won't be here. Let me go in. And after a very brief deliberation, Max Andrews allowed Scott Anthony to enter the tournament. But the Handsome Stranger is here, and the Handsome Stranger is the legal man in the tournament. And Scott Anthony was not pleased when he left the arena here at the Global Dome.
Well, there's the Handsome Stranger, and joining us, the Palm Beach heartthrob, Scott Anthony.
What an incredible ripoff. I was supposed to be in a TV tournament. Max said I could be in there, and a stranger.
No, Mr. Andrews, isn't it?
Yeah, he said I could be in the thing, in the tournament. Hey, ooh, a little pushing match here. Listen, he said I could be in the tournament. I was going to win this TV tournament. The stranger, I ran him out of wrestling. I humiliated him. I embarrassed him. I ran him out of wrestling.
No, but you were going to be in the tournament if the handsome stranger didn't show up. It looks like he's mighty healthy, although Mike Davis seems to be giving him a little bit.
He's too stupid. He don't know. He should. I ran him out of wrestling. Everybody knows that. He wasn't here last week. 2 weeks ago, I humiliated him. I embarrassed him. I ran him out of wrestling. He never should have come back. He's a dummy.
Well, Scott Anthony is not out of wrestling because there he is right there.
Well, he's too stupid to quit. Now I'm going to have to hospitalize the man now. I'll humiliate him again. I don't care. You can't stop me.
Well, obviously, you've recovered a little bit from your somber attitude of a couple weeks ago.
Hey, why don't you shut up about that, Johnson? You never get any chicks anyway. I look at the Davis going to work on a handsome stranger.
Mike Davis against the handsome stranger. The winner of this match will face Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert in the championship as the Soul Taker and Brian Lee both eliminated due to the time limit draw.
No kidding. What a brutal match that was. I'd have whooped them both anyway. Look at that. And I was ripped off. Max said I could be in the tournament. You heard Max at the top of the show.
Speaking of interim commissioner Max Andrews.
Yeah. Look at that. Get him, Davis. Get him.
We're being awfully friendly with the interim commissioner.
Hey, listen, you Bill Watts lookalike. Just watch the match and commentate and do your job.
Show the proper respect for the interim commissioner of the Global Wrestling Federation. I think it's...
Well, Mike Davis not showing any respect here for the handsome stranger. A series of forearms to the side of the head. Stranger gets the boot up to the midsection, delivers a right of his own, but Davis...
Ooh, right to the belly. That's better than a glass of Metamucil.
Oh, please.
Mike Davis with excellent singles credentials, formerly the NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion.
Mike Davis is one heck of a talented wrestler. I like his sporty new wardrobe, too, with the ripped jeans. He's just a dirty guy. That's why I like him. He's just rough, tough, rough and tumble, meat and potatoes kind of guy.
Comes down, but the knees are up. The handsome stranger rolls him up. 1, 2, 3.
He pulled the dice.
The handsome stranger will go to the championship match.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the match, the handsome stranger.
Boo! The stranger to go into the title match against Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. When we return, Bobby Blackstone with the viewer's comment. The newsroom with Joe Pedicino and more after this.
Confessions, fantasies, and private dreams. Try them now. Find out how. Call toll-free. Women's Confessions. Learn the private secrets women hide. Dial 1-800-468-0203. Call toll-free. Discover fantasies of romance and love. Dial 1-800-468-0203. Call toll-free. Take a peek inside their private dreams. Dial 1-800-468-0203. Call toll-free. Try them now. Find out how. Call toll-free. Confessions, fantasies, and private dreams. Try them now. Find out how. Call toll-free. Dial 1-800-468-0203. Call now. It's free, free, free.
In tennis, you don't just play the opponent. You've got to play the ball. It's how you play the ball that determines whether your shot is in or out, whether the point is won or lost. Now, you can play the ball and win with this half-hour video by Tennis Magazine instruction editor Vic Braden. Free with a 1-year subscription. 12 issues of Tennis Magazine. Call 800-228-6 for a full year of Tennis Magazine plus the free video. Just $13.77. Call 800-228-6609 now.
Mike and Jamie Call talk about advertising on Daniel's Cablevision.
We were at a local restaurant here in La Costa, and we were having dinner and noticed that a couple was kind of staring and talking about us at the next booth.
They did hail us, and we knew that we didn't know them, but they said, "Wait, you're the people, the flower people. We've seen you on Daniel's Cablevision."
And the next day she came in and ordered several flower arrangements.
It was flattering and good for business at the same time.
The power of teaching. The power to wake up young minds. The power to wake up the world. Teachers have that power. Reach for the power. Teach. I'm Edward James Olmos, and we're recruiting new teachers. Call 1-800-45-TEACH.
Hey, Blackstone here with Brian in the Global Dome. Brian's a big fan of the GWF. You got your T-shirt on, and you're getting ready to watch the finals in this television tournament. Of course, it's boiled down to the handsome stranger and Eddie Gilbert. Eddie Gilbert, I guess he's proven himself, hasn't he?
Oh, Eddie Gilbert has cheated every time he's got in the ring. Every time Eddie Gilbert wrestles, he cheats. I've seen enough. It's going to be down to Eddie Gilbert and the handsome stranger in the finals. I want to see the handsome stranger take it. He deserves it. Eddie Gilbert cheats all the time. Come on.
A lot of people feel the exact same way, and I think the handsome stranger just might go away with a victory.
We're only minutes away from finding out who the new TV champion of the Global Wrestling Federation will be. Hello, everyone. I'm Joe Pedicino here in the newsroom backstage at the Global Dome. We'll be going back out for the finals of our big TV tournament in just a few minutes, and that should be quite an exciting match coming up. Right now, though, we're going to talk about the sponsor for the newsroom. As always, it's the Global Wrestling Hotline. If you haven't played wrestling trivia yet, then you just don't know how much fun you're missing out on. You can call up and score points and win big prizes, including a trip here to the Global Dome for a TV taping just by calling the Global Wrestling Hotline. You can also get in the ring and actually wrestle against two of the superstars of the GWF. All of that, along with, of course, news, commentary, and more on the Global Wrestling Hotline every day. Right now, we want to talk about the situation with Scott Anthony. Last week, we asked why Max Andrews hasn't done anything about it. I'm getting more and more curious about this situation. Andrews is sitting back while Scott Anthony is interfering in matches, while he is humiliating the handsome stranger. I am very curious about the upcoming match. I would suggest very strongly that the handsome stranger be very careful. Scott Anthony is not the type to sit back and just watch this happen. I predict that Scott Anthony will continue to be a thorn in the side of the handsome stranger. Let's talk for just 1 second now about Chaz and the Lightning Kid. The light heavyweight title is bouncing back and forth like a rubber ball. Chaz recently lost what he was told would be his last opportunity at the title. But we have found out that Max Andrews and the competition committee is considering giving Chaz one more chance at that light heavyweight title. Personally, I think he deserves it. I believe that because of the way the title was kept in the last match, he deserves one more opportunity. And according to the people calling on the GWF hotline, they agree. We'll see you next time in the newsroom.
All right, Global Wrestling Federation fans, Bonnie Blackstone here with two of the most popular athletes, I would wager, in the world, the GWF Tag Team Champions, Walker and Simpson. Guys, you've overcome a lot of obstacles. You won the North American Tag Team Championship, but by no means does that mean that the competition gets any easier here in the Global Wrestling Federation, Chris.
Well, Bonnie, Steve and I have been training real hard together. We're trying to put a lot of maneuvers in the ring together. He's got a lot of experience. He's been helping me out a lot. We're training twice as hard. We know there's a lot of people out there looking for us, and we look at it this way, guys. Come and get it. We got the belts. You got to come to us. We're going to be ready for you. If you want to wrestle match, we'll wrestle. If you want to fight, we'll give you a fight. Ain't that right,
Steve, a lot of our fans comment on the fact that you complement each other in style and in forte. Tell me about that.
Well, really, it's what happens with, I've got a lot of speed and ability as far as quickness is concerned. When it comes to the power stuff, well, here's my man. You know what I'm saying? They can bring him 10 feet tall. I don't care. He'll put them down so quick.
Commissioner Max Andrews, I guess, is who he's talking about.
Hey, were you there at the opening of the show? You heard Max. He said I could. You that buffoon.
Well, it's the handsome stranger going for the television title against Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. Let's find out what Bonnie and the fans have to say. Bonnie?
As you can see, guys, I moved down to the front row with Pamela, Courtney, and friends. What do you think about this tournament?
I have enjoyed every single bell.
All right, we're going to go now back to the final two.
Okay. The lockup. Thank you, Bonnie. Always interesting comments from the fans.
Hey, that Blackstone chick, she wants me, man. You could tell. She wants me.
Right.
Age is mad, Hudson, because you can't get no women because you got no hair. So here, a little locking up type deal here. Eddie Gilbert, couple fingers out, trying to outstretch. Tying up. Nope. Stranger's a chicken. See, he's a chicken, backed off.
You have to think of some of the people that had their names put in the hopper for this tournament who didn't make it. Men like Jeff Gaylord, Terry Gordy, Wild Bill Irwin, Heck Cactus Jack even, I understand, had his name entered in the hopper, but...
Did you see that? A 2 count and a pair of tights pulled. If Eddie Gilbert wasn't the consummate veteran that he is, he never would have kicked out of that tight pulling 2 count.
But the point I like to make, no members of the cartel in this tournament.
Yeah, Max said I could be in it. You were there at the top of the show.
There you go again with that.
Well, Eddie Gilbert, maybe a little bit, a look of concern as he locks up with a handsome stranger who moves it into the side headlock. Back to the ropes they go. Pushes him into the rope, and the handsome stranger locks it. 1-2. Very close to becoming the new global television champion.
And I got to at least admire his strategy. The man's smart. He's going right after the title. He's trying to get a quick pinfall, but it ain't going to happen. Eddie Gilbert's too tough. He's too smart, and the stranger's too much of a fool. If he wasn't that dumb, he never would. If the stranger had half a brain, he wouldn't have come back to the sport after I humiliated him. He knows what's in store for him. I'm just going to humiliate and embarrass him worse.
I don't know how much worse it could possibly get.
We should show that tape again. In fact, we should show that tape of me jumping out of the audience, beating the snot out of him every couple days. But can I say that word? We should show that tape, though. We should show it much more often than we do. Uh-oh, we're pushing, man.
And look who got the best of that one, the handsome stranger.
There's a look on Eddie Gilbert's face that says he has underestimated the handsome stranger, Craig. If memory serves, this would be the first match ever between the handsome stranger and Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. Eddie Gilbert, I don't know how much he knows about the handsome stranger, but the handsome stranger certainly has done his homework, and he does know Eddie Gilbert.
Wait a minute, you see that? Gilbert went to throw a punch, and the ref hooked his arm, and the stranger punched him back.
Senior referee James Beard catching Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert ready to throw the punch.
What kind of deal is that? What a biased referee.
It's an official who is preventing a blatant violation of the rules by Eddie Gilbert.
What are you, Mr. Encyclopedia? Listen, Hudson Hummingbird, you and Homeboy Johnson, you let me run the show up here from the booth.
Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, who defeated John Tatum in round number 1. The handsome stranger defeated Mike Davis.
Eddie Gilbert versus John Tatum. That was an interesting match. I'm surprised Jason Hervey was nowhere in sight.
They get ready to lock up, maybe a test of strength. No, Gilbert.
Ooh, a beautiful chain piece of wrestling there by Mr. Eddie Gilbert, Hot Stuff himself.
And the hammerlock reversal by the handsome stranger.
Yeah, but it wasn't very pretty. He's not as fluid. He's not as graceful.
A lot of fans, the women especially, wondering who the handsome stranger is.
He's some garbage man from Jersey. That's why he wears the mask. That little scar over his eyebrow. That's why he wears that mask, cover that hideous scarf when he was a garbage man.
Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert almost looked like he was pouting, and I think the handsome stranger thinks he was crying.
That's another common interest I think Eddie Gilbert and John Tatum have in common. That they cry a lot in the ring.
Hey, look, he's crying too.
I don't think so.
What do you think he is anyway? The FTD floor, handing out flowers and roses? Making a couple of wings on his head. Get some wings on his head and a gold suit with a funny hat.
At least the things he delivers, the ladies appreciate.
Ooh. Johnson, I'm going to get you later. The things I would say to you would degrade you so badly on television, you'd never be able to commentate in this town again. Good, a punch to the belly. Or to the leg. Quit blocking my view of the monitor so I can see what the heck is going on here. Now taking the knee out, taking the pins out.
Eddie Gilbert has been known to lock on the figure 4 at times to put his opponent away, and that may be what he's going for here. Spinning toe hold into the figure 4. Eddie Gilbert going after the global television title, has the figure 4 locked in here, and the handsome stranger is in trouble.
I think I'm going to go down and cheer my boy Eddie on, man. That's what he needs it. And maybe I'll just taunt the stranger as the television title slips out of his grasp.
Good, go. Have a good time, Scott. Thanks for coming.
Well, be careful telling him to have a good time, because a good time to him is making the stranger's day miserable. Reversal by the handsome stranger on the figure 4 as Scott Anthony makes his way down to ringside. Gilbert makes his way to the ropes to break this painful hold.
I am very worried about Scott Anthony being at ringside. That man can't be trusted, quite frankly.
The collision as both men go down. Look, Anthony pushes. It's count of 1, count of 2. Almost the count of 3. The stranger was almost the new champion. Now the handsome stranger with the Irish whip into the corner. Gilbert colliding with the official. The stranger up to the middle rope. He comes down, but nobody's home. Eddie Gilbert. You remember this is the same object he had against John Tatum. Atomic drop. The foreign object flies. Count of 1, 2, 3, 4. The stranger waylaid from behind. Eddie Gilbert picks him up for a pile driver, sends him down. Hot stuff.
What is Anthony doing?
He's putting the foreign object on the stranger's hand.
What in the world?
What's going on here?
Look at... Oh, no.
Gilbert was...
No. Gilbert is acting like the handsome stranger had slugged him with the foreign object, and he did no such thing. Oh, no.
Well, Gilbert getting up to make a... He ran into the official on purpose.
Oh, please.
The handsome stranger dazed. He goes to pick up hot stuff Eddie Gilbert. And James Beard has found the foreign object.
Oh, no.
The fans know that nothing happened. Eddie Gilbert claiming that something happened. If Gilbert was hit by a foreign object, what is he setting up for?
And Anthony explaining to the official how the handsome stranger slugged Eddie Gilbert with the foreign object when nothing of the sort happened.
Well, the belt's coming in. He's going to disqualify the stranger.
Ladies and gentlemen, the referee has determined that by disqualification, the new GWF TV title champion is Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert.
New GWF television champion, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert.
The champ, it's the champ. Tell him, champ. I don't know where to begin. There's so many people that thank that got me here.
Why don't you begin?
My mom and dad for having me, and what a glorious day. Tom Glavine just pitched the first, winning 20 games and won National League in history, and me now I'm the...
What I want to ask you is the stranger did not hit...
I understand that you're excited like I am, but, you know, I do want to thank my mom and my dad and everybody. What a wonderful day.
How's his eye?
How's his eye? It hurts bad. I need to go to the doctor right now.
It was the other side.
Well, I can't remember right now. I think I might have a concussion. He hit hard in the eye.
Hold on. I
can't remember.
What?
Right?
Joe Pedicino, the boss. Joe?
I was in the back taping interviews for the 900 line, and I overheard an argument I was not supposed to overhear, and this will be a big interest to you, Scott Anthony. I have a tape of Scott Anthony arguing with the boss, and I know who the boss is.
Are you going to tell us?
Not until we can review the tape, and I've got to take the tape to the GWF. And